perhaps everyone, oh, Sandra Embleton here, perhaps everyone who is someone that we like to follow or like to look to give us information or guidance, usually has a moment in their life, usually has a moment where they received or had an enlightened experience. They had an experience that they knew at the time what was happening to them was not an ordinary experience. And so it as they mature and as they search out this incredible experience or information they received, they have to go and find out and learn in many different areas what the explanation would possibly be for this amazing thing that ended up happening to them. But it's like from that moment on, I knew, or I changed that moment on, or the old person left and the new person came in. There's so many different examples of people who live ordinary lives, and then all of a sudden, boom, something supernatural happens, and right away, it's like the person experiencing it starts on their own journey. And what they try to do, they go on the hero's journey. According to Joseph Campbell, they embark upon an adventure. And this adventure is called the hero's journey, because the hero leaves and has this adventure and then comes back to the community and reports and tells everyone what it is that they experienced, what happened to them. And that's the hero's journey, that you go off on that journey and you come back and you report. So there's a defining moment. Pardon me, in most in everyone who embarks upon the master's journey or the hero's journey, the person who's out to experience himself, the person who's out to find the answers of why am I here and I want to know God, and I want to know the answers. So you start off in this journey, and sometimes you don't. It's not like you asked for it, but you really did. And sometimes it just happens to you because it's who you are, and that's what you're meant to be doing here this lifetime, is following this pathway which leads to God. So I would share with you that this happened to me. This was the most incredible, enlightened experience that I've ever had. It altered my life when it happened and set me on my journey in my current course. I started to know and receive messages or knowings in 1993, but it was probably all my life. But it was 1993 when I started to be able to start to hear things. I was going through an abuse recovery group at the time, and I was going through the process of letting go and releasing trauma after trauma after trauma, and healing that, and that repairs your auric field, that makes you stronger, and that makes you more intuitive. It gives you gifts. You start to be able to be strong and vibrate high as a spiritual individual. I didn't know that at the time. I had to learn that, and I'm still learning. So anyway, back in 1993, I was going through this recovery, and the more I recovered and the more I cried and released my pain and my trauma, the more I started hearing messages, and I knew that I was being guided. I'd be woken up in the middle of the night, and I'd receive go sit up and write, Sandra, go downstairs and write this down. And I knew it was God. I just knew it was God. I could tell it was. It felt like, yeah, okay, I'll do that. Like I knew it was heaven sent. It was a knowing, and so I followed it. My knowing told me that, and I trusted it. So I started making all these notes. I started having, hearing, go do this, go do that, go do this, go do that. And I would do that. I would follow the inner knowing. It would start leading me from one thing to another. Well, at this time, I just remember the movie Schindler's List was out, and for some reason there was a connection with me to the movie and Steven Spielberg, and I knew that. I could feel it. And there was connections coming up for me from people like Bobby McFerrin, and I was starting to receive, who they were in past lives. It was weird, but it started happening to me. Anyway, I was then, at the time I was home, I had 3 children, and I got this feeling I should go and just have a time for myself. And my husband's parents were leaving out west, and the house was going to be empty. Well, we didn't have the finances, certainly, to be able to put me up in a hotel for a 3-day holiday. So I just said to Dave, you're staying home from work and looking after the kids. I have to look after myself. I need to have some time alone, which is very empowering. And you need to do that when you don't think you need to do that. So anyway, I started hearing things before I left, like get a tape recorder and, all these things I was hearing to get me to stay by myself at Dave's parents' home. So when I got there, I no sooner had walked in the house, and I'm hearing go of a tuna fish sandwich. And I'm going, okay, I had come to know that anytime something spiritual was going to happen for me, that I would have fish. It was just like, yep, you have to have tuna or salmon or some kind of fish. And usually it was an indication that this was going to be a real spiritual day. And I had to learn that. For me, it was a common thing that happened every time I had these visions or visitations or spiritual happenings. This is usually what would occur. So I went and had my tuna fish sandwich, and then I'm hearing, go lie down on the couch. And so I said, oh, okay, I'll go lie down on the couch. And at the time I had a teddy bear. I was going through my abuse recovery, so my little child, I let her carry around a teddy bear, which she still does. And I let her do that. And we're lying on the couch, and I'm holding on to her. And the next thing I know, I'm out. It's black. It's absolutely black. And I'm going, oh my gosh, what's going on? I didn't remember falling asleep. I didn't remember anything. I just remembered lying down and bang. The next thing I remember is I wake up and I'm opening my eyes, but I can't move my body. And I'm lying on this couch and I'm looking around the room and I'm going, wow, I'm awake, but I can't move my body. And I'm going, okay. And so the inner dialogue is going, I can't move my body. And part of the inner dialogue goes, I can't move my body. What's happening? And I laid there and I'm going, consciously, okay, those are the pictures that Dave's mom's made, and this is the color of the walls, and this is the drapery. Yep, I'm awake, I'm in the room. Why can't I move my body? And as I'm lying on the couch, I hear the door open, and it sounded like someone coming in. I thought it was my husband carrying it with our little dog or something. I just felt a presence in the hall behind me. So the hallway was behind me, and I'm looking forward into the living room, and this noise is coming from behind me. And then I'm going to say there's another presence there, and it felt dark. And I don't like saying that, but I think that's what happened. And as I'm lying there feeling those two presences in the hallway, a set of hands came on my head, and it was this breath blew into the top of my head. And when it did, I could move again, and I sat up. And so now I'm sitting there going, what just happened? Why did that just happen? And then I knew that I had just received the breath of God. God breathed himself into the top of my head. And it was like I was sitting there, And I was frozen, like, what just happened? And part of me knew my husband was to witness it, and the other part of me knew that it was the dark side and God saying, keep away from her, she's mine. I had, that's just the feeling I had. I'm going to share that. Now, let's move on. So it wasn't, so the rest of the night, I ended up going and seeing a friend of mine that night for dinner and coming back, going to bed with no incident. The next morning I woke up and I had my breakfast, and I'm hearing I should go do some yoga. And so I went, okay, I'll go do some yoga. And a friend of mine had, I hadn't smoked pot for 8 years, being a mom, Miss Responsible. And she had this little piece of old something. And she said, well, if you're by yourself, you should just have some. I laughed at her. I said, no, but thanks. And she goes, no, she made me, here you go. And I go, fine. So then I'm hearing, you should just smoke a little of that. Well, no, okay. So I had a puff. And it just made me relax a little bit. And then I started putting music on. I started dancing and I started doing yoga. And I was really, wow, this is great. And I was really then started working out. And I was doing all sorts of great moves and had the music going from The Bodyguard, from, all that soundtrack. That was really great. I listened to that and George Michael, Faith, that album. Those were two big albums at the time for me. And I listened to the music. It was uplifting for me. So as I'm doing yoga, all of a sudden I'm hearing, I found myself like stretched out in the middle of the living room, like my arms out, my feet down, and I'm lying in the middle of the living room and thinking to myself, wow, I feel like I'm like Christ on the cross. And then all of a sudden my body just lifted up out of the ceiling and went, and it was gone, and I was out again. And I don't know how long I was out for, but the moment that I came back down into my body, I sat up and I knew I could talk to God. And it was like, wow, what just happened? And then I'm saying, I'm not sure what that is. And then all of a sudden it's just like I could hear God's voice. I'm right here, you're my daughter, and I'm with you, and I can talk to you anytime, and the two of us can commune all the time. And anything you want to ask me, you can ask me. Well, the first thing I said was, okay, God, why is pot illegal? That was the first question I thought to ask, because it was right there. And then he said, because if everyone smoked pot, everybody would relax and see the truth and love one another. And then it showed me pictures of the soldiers on Kent State University, the cover of Time magazine with girls' flower power, putting the flowers, the daisies in all the rifle barrels. And I saw that, and it's outlawed because it's actually a healing thing. It would help us be peaceful and more loving and move out of the fear. I thought, oh, okay. And I just remember then saying, well, what about this and what about that? And God was speaking to me, but he spoke to me so fast. It was at the speed of thought. In other words, like I'd hear a thought, a question to ask, and I couldn't even get the whole question out of my mind, say the whole question in my mind, when God was cutting in and giving me the answer. So it was like, so the communication between God became bang, 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 thought, answer, thought, answer, thought, answer. And the flow of that, the flow of the thought, answer, became so quick and so rapid that it was just like it was like bang, 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 I thought, answer. So I'm walking around with all these questions and getting the answers. And then it was so weird because it was snowing. It was February when this happened, and I was inside communing with God for that whole next day. And the next day when I went to leave, there was a flat tire in my car, and it was like I couldn't have left if I wanted to. I was meant to stay there. So what happened was, it was such a bizarre experience. I went home to my husband and I said, look, Dave, and we had 3 kids at the time, right? And I'm sitting in the kitchen, I'm really serious. And I'm saying, look, I've just had this incredible spiritual experience. And I gotta go. I can talk to God. I can know God like you wouldn't believe. And I gotta go help people. There's people that need my help. So I gotta go. And he's looking at me. Oh, God help him. And he's thinking to himself, oh shit, what have I done? What's gonna happen? And he calmly says to me, Sam, we have 3 kids. Don't you think don't you think you could wait? Because we kind of need you here. And I thought, oh, yeah, okay. Well, yeah, okay, that's right. But even though I agreed not to run off, I was in this energy, and I started to, I was reading the Celestine Prophecy at the time, and the Celestine Prophecy is by Ken Redfield. You just love it, and without that, I wouldn't have known what was happening. But that served as a guide for me, and I was able to know that anytime somebody came up to you, send them love from your heart. Start sending them love from your heart. And the more you beam love into each other's heart, like I used to look at Star Wars, Luke Skywalker, his wand, his sword that lit up. I used to visualize that between our hearts lighting up. And that if you send enough love, whatever they're there for, it will appear. You'll get the message these people are put in front of you to give you. So just send love. Man, that was such great advice, because I started using that tactic and it really did work. So much so that one day, I must explain too, like this energy that was on me, I could feel it. Like I would wake up every day and I'd lie. As soon as I was conscious, I'd open my eyes and go, oh, it's still here. Like I was feeling great. I had so much energy. I was elevated. It was like boom, 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 boom. Like I was really in the flow. Like, yeah. And it told me where to go and what to do. And so that afternoon, my kids were in school and I started doing some yoga, and the doorbell rang. And I said, I wonder, there's a message. I wonder what it is. And I opened the door, and these women were canvassing for diabetes. And I'm standing on the front stoop with them and talking with them. And I had no money to give at that time. And so when they asked for a donation, I didn't have one. I just said, hey, thanks for doing this. You do a great job. It takes people to volunteer because they believe in something. You're going door to door. And I said, it's really great you ladies are out there doing this. And then all of a sudden, as I was sending them love, the badge that the one lady had on her coat said the official hope of the world. And it just like lit up. It just like went, the official hope of the world. And it lit up. And I knew that's the message that they came to bring me. And when I got it, I went, okay. And then I said, thanks, ladies. And they left. And back I go, and I'm working out again. Well, this high energy, this knowing, kept getting stronger and stronger in me, and I was able to discern things, know truth. It was really absolutely incredible. And I remember going to my church and asking to speak to the head minister and all the other ministers, the children's health minister and another individuals were there, and I had a meeting with my minister and said, look, I think I have to become a minister because I can talk to God. Like how does that sound, eh? Like I'm out of my mind, and these people knew me, but I was serious because I could and I wanted to help. And immediately I said, I believe God's calling me to be a minister, and I need to get on this. Will you show me what to do? Tell me how to sign up to become a minister. Well, nothing really came of it. It's like, yeah, Sandra, okay, well, we'll give you this form. And they're kind of like, probably when I look back at it, looking at each other thinking, oh my God, this woman's right out of her tree. Anyway, I didn't really care because it was in me. And I thought, I've got to find this out because I don't like it when people look at me and think I'm nuts. This is happening and I'm trying to find out, and I need all the help I can get to figure it out. So now I'm in the library at the church researching Scott Peck, Road Less Traveled, and all these different authors, self-help, going, what is it? What is it I need to learn? What's happening? Why am I experiencing this? How come no one else can see it or understand it? And that was like on me every day. So this state of euphoria continued. I think I was in my second week of it, and I went to church and on the Sunday, and this was the most significant thing. Honestly, I'll never forget it because it was surreal. It was like being in a dream, a real live dream, and watching it happen, knowing it was a dream. And I was there with my family, and the sermon that day was being taught by the minister. But before you have that sermon, the educational minister was talking with the kids. So all the little kids came up to the front, and the parents are in the pews and stuff. And we were watching Child Time, and she's got this white box with an orange ribbon on it, and it's saying, "This is a gift from God. This is a gift from God. It's God's gift to us." And so the kids are going, "Oh, what's inside? What's good? What is it?" And then she takes off the orange ribbon and opens the box, and there's nothing. And then she says, "It's faith. God's gift to us is faith. And you can't see it, and you can't touch it, or it's just the gift of believing in him and knowing that he loves you and that he sent his son to love you. And the son in him and the daughter in him are one." So anyway, as she... the kids get that lesson, and off they go, and the minister goes up and gives his sermon. And then at the end of the sermon, everyone goes down to the gym for coffee, so everyone's marching out. And I'm the only one left in the whole church. Now this is a big church. It seats like 500 people. And up at the front, there's this great big just wooden cross, and it's back in the narthex. So I walk up to the cross, and I'm standing there, and I'm looking up at the cross. I'm going, "Okay, God, like, what's going on? Nobody understands me. I'm trying to tell my friends and family I can talk to you, and nothing. I don't know why you're putting me through this. What are you doing? Why is this happening?" And as I ask him that question, I hear a bang over to my right, and I step back a bit. And I turn, and from this angle, I see the door's been swung open, and the caretaker marching down the aisle, and she's 50 feet from me, and she's marching down the aisle like this, and she stops dead in her tracks, and she turns over and points behind me and goes, "What's that?" And then turns around and marches right back out at the end of the church. And it was like she was in a dream. And I was stunned at it. And so she, "What's that?" And she's pointing from behind me. Now I turn around and look, and there's this orange, yellow, and brown shag rug. And I'm looking on the rug, and I'm going, what is she talking about? And all of a sudden, down there in the rug, I see the orange ribbon that was left over from that morning's service that was wrapped around the box of faith. And I look, and I picked up the ribbon, and I held up the ribbon, and I'm going, "Is this what I'm supposed to see, God?" And then God says to me, "Sandra, you are a gift. You are a gift. The official hope of the world. You are a gift." And I'm going, "Oh, okay." And I kept that ribbon. Don't know if I still have it, but... And I got my message. So for the next couple of weeks, next week, I remember trying to tell as many people as I could that I could talk to God. I remember doing my best to be helpful and loving to as many people as I could. And then after, so I said it lasted 3 weeks. So after about the second and a half week of all this, and I mean waking up every morning going, "It's still here, it's still here." I remember saying to God, standing out and saying, "Look, I feel so lonely. I feel so lonely. Nobody understands me and nobody gets me." And I said, "I can't talk to anybody. Nobody believes me." And I said, I just want to be like everybody else." And God heard me, and the next day I was outside, and my neighbor who lived beside me, she was a Catholic woman. I didn't have much correspondence with her, but that day I went over, and I said, "Hey, how are you doing?" And she said, "Well, not very good. I'm fighting with my husband." And I'm looking at her, said, like, knowing I have a direct line to God. And I said, "Well, look," I said, "maybe if you tell me what's going on, maybe I could help." And then she looks at me as angry as anything, and she says, "What do you mean? Who do you think you are? You're not Jesus Christ." And all of a sudden it was like, my energy went like a plane dive bombing, boom, and it hit the floor. And I felt that cold concrete, and I went, "I gotta go." And I went back to my house. And as soon as I did, I went and laid down right away on the floor in my living room, and I couldn't move again. Like I couldn't move. And I'm going, okay, what's going on? And my daughter came. I said, Katie, Mommy can't move. I go get the neighbor. Go get the neighbor. So she runs next door. My neighbor comes by. And I'm lying on the floor. I can't move a muscle. And they call the ambulance. And my husband comes home. And they get me in the ambulance. And they're taking me down. And I can't move my body at all. Not at all. We're halfway down to the hospital. And all of a sudden, my body starts moving. And I'm going, oh my God, what was that, right? So I go in and they have a look at me and, nothing's wrong, everything's fine. And, Mrs. Hamilton, do you have trouble with anxiety? Are you on anything? Like, no, I'm fine. Thank you very much. I'm humiliated as enough as it is. And Dave takes me home. So after that, it left that immediacy, that urgency, that energy, that infinite presence, the infinite presence of God wasn't as strong on me. It backed off. And I was okay with that, but it didn't stop the spiritual experiences. And I went on to have many, many, many more incredible experiences that the only thing I can say is that is every time I knew it was God. I knew it was God using me or coming through me or speaking with me or guiding me or directing me. The next story of collecting the 500 souls is even more incredible. So maybe I'll probably do another video and tell you that one. But right now, I'm just going to say that I kept hearing and writing in my journals and hearing over and over again, and never stopped from 1993 to this date in 2020, that I am the bride of Christ, I am Mrs. Jesus, I am God's daughter, I am that vessel, that soul that God speaks through. And I believe I'm speaking now and coming out and sharing these stories so you'll understand that I really have been anything but normal. I have lived a life of being so different from so many people, and until this time, because now I look out and there's so many light beings here on the planet now. It's being lit right up. So more and more vessels and lights of God are coming all the time and are here and present now. But I wanted to share that story because it's phenomenal. It was unbelievable, and an experience that I carry with me, and an ability that I have that I'm going to let out right now, because I do want to help as many people as I can. And if I can be a voice for God on the planet, then that's what I'm going to do. Thank you.